circulation very close to the community of Morton Valley. So again, north of Eastland, Morton Valley, Ranger, Strawn, south of Frankel. I really need you to be in that tornado safe place. You're under a tornado warning for the next hour. Aside from that, the thunderstorm is also producing very large hail and very gusty winds, and it is approaching I-20 near Ranger. So folks who live in that area really need you to be taking this seriously. It's also warned for up to tennis ball size hail. That's baseball sized hail, 2 3/4 of an inch in diameter. And I've just received word that we are live on our streaming platforms as well. So folks in Morton Valley, folks in Ranger, northern Eastland, southern Stevens County, you can watch us on the Fox West Texas Plus app. You can watch us on our streaming app, Fox West Texas Plus. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel and our different avenues to watch Fox West Texas. I'll be keeping a close eye on this thunderstorm as it tracks off to the east. It's currently moving northeast at 15 miles an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track on this thunderstorm. We're currently over the air in the Abilene television market. So folks who live in Abilene, this is not a threat for you. This is moving east away from Abilene, eventually making its way towards Weatherford outside of our viewing area. We're still keeping it's still impacting portions of our viewing area. It's moving northeast at 15 miles an hour. So Morton Valley, that thunderstorm is impacting you, if not now, within the next 10 minutes or so. By about 7:30, it looks to be impacting places like Ranger. 7:28 p.m. is when radar is estimating it'll arrive, and at the Young School at 7:30 p.m. So the circulation itself is moving fairly slowly, but kind of the overall line of thunderstorms is moving quite quickly. So I think this might be underestimating it just a little bit. But I do want to give, since we're on our streaming platforms, I do want to give folks a quick overview with what is going on. We have a cluster of thunderstorms. It's eastern Shackelford County, southern Stevens County, moving off to the east-northeast. And you can see a very well-defined hook echo with this thunderstorm. That's where your circulation is. So folks just in northern Eastland County, far southern Stevens County, I really need you to be taking this seriously. I really want you in that tornado safe place. Morton Valley is really seeing the strongest rotation right now. Here's Interstate 183 near Highway 120. It's affecting places like, eventually going to affect places like Tiffin, places like Olden. I think it'll mostly stay north of Olden, mostly stay north of Eastland. But Ranger, this is really close near I-20. There are rest stops here near I-20. So if you know folks who are driving towards the Fort Worth area for the work weekend, they're around I-20, really want you to make sure they are staying safe, because there is a powerful rotation, powerful area of rotation approaching I-20 near the community of Eastland. So this is potentially a very dangerous situation. I don't say this to scare anyone, but I am a straight shooter, and I'm going to let you know what the risk is looking like. And this is potentially a dangerous situation in northern Eastland County. And the newest radar information from the radar site in Abilene, it's not looking as powerful. It's still definitely well-defined rotation. Winds inside the thunderstorm right where the green and red are touching each other near Morton Valley. Here's Highway 183. Here's Texas Highway 112. And here's Highway 120. So that rotation right now, it's just north of the community of Eastland, just north of I-20. I-20 towards Ranger near Olden, you are included in this tornado warning. So I really need you to be in that tornado safe place, lowest floor, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And it's a fairly densely populated area. Not as densely populated as, say, St. Angelo or Abilene. It's definitely, over 3,300 people live in that tornado warning polygon. So it just really illustrates the potential impact this thunderstorm can present. Taking a close look at the thunderstorm, there's your area of rotation right over the community of Morton Valley. Some very heavy rainfall. And as I previously mentioned, it's also warned for potentially up to baseball-sized hail. I think the hail threat mostly going to stay in Stevens County. The imminent tornado threat right now is far northern Eastland County. It is, I think, eventually going to move towards far southern Stevens County and eventually into Palo Pinto County. And by that point, it'll move out of our viewing area. And we have just received an update from the National Weather Service office in Fort Worth. I want to read you the very latest from our colleagues at the National Weather Service office in Fort Worth, Texas. Here's what they're saying with this thunderstorm. A tornado warning remains in effect. Do apologize, having some technical difficulties here. A tornado warning remains in effect until 7:45 p.m. We're talking northeastern Eastland and southeastern Stevens County and southwestern Palo Pinto County, which is again just outside of our viewing area. And it's tornado warned and baseball-sized hail with the thunderstorm. Its radar indicated rotation, as I mentioned previously, though, it's very powerful radar indicated rotation. And even now you can see it's very well-defined rotation on Highway 112. You see the bright red right next to the bright green. The green is winds going towards the radar. The red is winds going away from the radar. So very powerful rotation just near the community of Morton Valley. I really need you to be in your tornado safe place. If you know folks who live in Morton Valley, I want you to give them a phone call, tell them the situation. There's a tornado warning in effect until 7:45 p.m. this evening, and they really need to be in their tornado safe place in Morton Valley. Again, it's baseball-sized hail, and it's about 5 miles north of Eastland. So folks in Eastland, I would still recommend staying in that tornado safe place, just given how close it is. I think the most imminent threat is over Morton Valley, eventually moving towards Ranger and Tiffin. So folks in Ranger, folks in Tiffin along I-20, we're talking northern, northeastern portions of Eastland County, south of the community of Gunsight, anyone in the tornado warning polygon. The advice, you always want to seek shelter when there's a tornado warning polygon for your area. Lowest floor away from windows. A powerful rotational signature associated with the thunderstorm. And it does look like the actual aerial coverage, and that is a very strong looking rotational signature near Morton Valley, and it's continuing east towards Ranger and I-20 near Ranger. Going to sample the winds inside the thunderstorm, get an idea of how fast those winds are going. I can tell you right now it's going to be very fast winds. And the shear, that's an estimation of the rotation inside the thunderstorm, is potentially up to 110 miles an hour. We just saw that a second ago. Let me try and refresh it a little bit. Right now it's 105 miles an hour, really close to the community of Morton Valley, just on the north side of Morton Valley. So folks in that location really need you to be taking this seriously. Again, lowest floor away from windows. Despite the fact that there's not confirmation from spotters right now, I would not be shocked if there was a tornado on the ground in the least bit. Even though we're not seeing confirmation from spotters, we've seen that it can be a little bit delayed, and we had a report of quarter-sized hail in Stevens County, and we're receiving more reports of hail falling in Stevens County, because the southern end of this thunderstorm has the tornado threat, but the northern end of this thunderstorm, we're seeing the threat of large hail. That's just, goes to show how powerful this thunderstorm is. The pink, the red you're seeing in southern Stevens County, that is the very large hail. The biggest threat with this thunderstorm, though, is that potential tornadic circulation. It's near Morton Valley right now. It's very quickly moving off to the east at about 15 miles an hour. Ranger, this is moving towards you, and Ranger kind of stepping out of the way, give a broader view, and it's eventually moving towards Strawn, which is southwestern portions of Palo Pinto County, which is technically just outside of our viewing area. But for now, we are seeing the imminent threat, and we just had that severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Eastland County for potential up to baseball size hail. So that is potentially going to be setting off a lot of phones, not just for the tornado potential, but also for the large hail potential as well. So definitely a really powerful thunderstorm, eventually going to be making its way towards mineral wells outside of our viewing area. And the latest scan from the radar still definitely showing the gate-to-gate shear. It's still showing the very powerful rotation. Again, green is winds going towards the radar, red is winds away from the radar. So you definitely still get that very powerful counterclockwise rotation moving towards Ranger, moving towards Strawn, and eventually going to be making its way towards Gordon outside of the Fox West Texas viewing area. So it may not be as powerful as it was just a second ago, but it's powerful nonetheless. And we have witnessed time and time again where you have this, the strength of the thunderstorm goes up in intensity and goes down in intensity. It's cyclical. And you can see just to the west of the community of Tiffin, and it looks like we might even have a couple different areas of rotation, one on the east side and one on the west side right now, kind of on the border of Eastland and Stevens County. It looks like the rotation might be wrapping up a little bit. It might be, which could mean we might see a little bit of a re-intensification, even if it's weakening at this particular moment. It may be strengthening or beginning a re-strengthening phase as it moves towards Ranger and eventually towards the community of Strawn. And it is a little bit before 7 p.m. on this Sunday evening. It is 6:58 exactly for those of you who are just now joining us. We're live on all our streaming platforms. We are live on the Fox West Texas channel to inform you of a tornado warning. We're talking northeastern Eastland County, southeastern, Stevens County, and southwestern Palo Pinto County. Morton Valley, Ranger, south of Frankel, south of Caddo, and along and north of Interstate 20 near the community of Strawn. All of you are included in that red polygon. That's the tornado warning polygon. Still definitely well-defined circulation. And we have just had some photos sent in per the National Weather Service. Of a lowering near Ranger, Texas. So that lines up with what we've been seeing recently of the very powerful rotation. So it's Ranger looking westward, seeing the lowering of the clouds. It's in the process of lowering that may mean we get a tornado soon. It's indicative of the powerful rotation in the mid-levels of the thunderstorm. And that's why the tornado warning's in effect. So if you live especially on the west side of Granger, you see those bright green colors. Powerful winds, even if there's not a tornado at this point. And it looks like we might be seeing a little bit of a second kind of area of rotation. I want to point this out real quick. So we've been focusing on the tornado warning for northern Eastland, southern Stevens County, in effect until 7:45 p.m. Notice that little hook shape. That was the impressive circulation over Eastland County that folks were able to see a wall cloud and a potential lowering, to the west of Ranger. And now we are seeing kind of a secondary area form over talking far southern portions of Stevens County. And we're definitely seeing the predominant circulation a little further to the east, and that's in between, right on the border between Eastland and Stevens County. It's between Morton Valley and Ranger. Rotation's definitely there. We're not seeing the bright blues and the bright pinks like we were a second ago, but you're definitely still seeing the green and the red right next to each other. So folks in Ranger, I really need you to be taking this seriously. And we're not saying this to scare you, but we do want to give you that heads up. And specifically that rotation was looking north from I-20 and 2461. And our major concern is definitely with that tornado warning for Eastland, Stevens County. I also want to point out we have a couple thunderstorms across the Concho Valley, one south of Sweetwater, northeast of Robert Lee, and then another little thunderstorm to the northwest of San Angelo. Not overly concerned about that at the moment, so that's some good news for folks in the Concho Valley. Also, flash flood warnings for Abilene and Baird. So earlier today, those same thunderstorms we're seeing right now across eastern portions of our viewing area, those moved through the big country, dumped a lot of rain. That's why we're seeing the flash flood warning. So even though they may not be as photogenic as tornadoes, they definitely can be very impactful. So just remember to turn around, don't drown if you live in Taylor and Callahan counties. And that's where you're seeing those green shaded polygons. And the one in Callahan County is labeled as a considerable flash flooding threat. So again, we don't use these words to scare people, but we do just say we've already seen a lot of rain this month, and that is just contributing to the surplus. So west of Tiffin, we're talking Ranger, Tiffin, near Morton Valley. That's where we're seeing the rotation. The National Weather Service is continuing that tornado warning. It's moving northeast at 25 miles an hour, so it does appear to have sped up a little bit. So with that, I'm going to give folks a new storm track, new kind of a timeline to give folks an idea of when exactly it's going to be arriving where. So it's moving east-northeast at 25 miles an hour. So it's moving a lot slower compared to those cars on I-20 right now. But you still definitely want to be in your tornado safe place. Again, northern portions of Eastland County, southern portions of Stevens County. It looks to arrive near Tiffin at 7:17 p.m. So here in the next 20 minutes or so, in the next 10 or 15 minutes, even shorter than that. And then near Greyhound Stadium at 7:39 p.m. And again, the tornado warning's in effect until 7:45 p.m. Looks to arrive near the community of Strawn, which is right along I-20 at 7:41 p.m. So big story right now. We have a cluster of thunderstorms that developed near Abilene. They're moving east-northeast. We're seeing severe thunderstorm warnings for Eastland, Stevens, and Palo Pinto County. And a tornado warning is in effect until 7:45 p.m. So for the next 40 minutes, we've been tracking this thunderstorm for about 20 minutes. Morton Valley, you are no longer included in that tornado warning. It is just to the east of you. We just saw the powerful circulation pass near the community of Morton Valley. Ranger, Tiffin, you are still included in that tornado warning. We're talking far northeastern portions of, we're talking far northeastern portions of Eastland County and southeastern portions of Stevens County. Green again is winds moving towards the radar. Red is winds moving away from the radar. So you definitely see that powerful circulation. It may not be as powerful as we once saw, but these thunderstorms have a tendency to cycle up and cycle down in intensity. So you definitely still want to be taking this storm very seriously and still producing potentially up to baseball-sized hail. Strawn, it looks like you're potentially seeing some very large hail just off to the west of you. I do think eventually that's going to make its way towards Strawn. So if you're not already in your tornado safe place, I would definitely tell you now's the time to act for Strawn, for Ranger. As you have that circulation approaching. as well as the really large hail. But Frankel, the tornadic circulation is just off to the southeast of you. It's also to the southeast of Caddo. And this does not include Breckenridge and Stevens County. There was a tornado warning earlier for northern portions of Stevens County. We're not currently talking about the northern half of Stevens County. We're talking the far southeastern portions of Stevens County, the far northeastern portions of Eastland County. The community of Eastland itself is not included in the tornado warning. It does include portions of I-20 though. And again, we have just received reports that the tornado has been observed in Strawn County, near the community of Strawn, per the National Weather Service. So tornadic storm continues just northwest of Ranger. We have noted a few drops in correlation coefficient and radar imagery, which suggests there may have been debris that has been persistent but is co-located with the tightest circulation. It looks to track just northwest of Ranger near I-20. So this is a look at the potential debris inside the thunderstorm. Basically, radar, it's able to detect different shapes and how similar they are in the thunderstorm. Typically, things like wind and hail are similarly shaped, but whenever you have potential debris in the thunderstorm, the radar is able to tell us, and that's what you see in potentially those blue colors, and that's why the Weather Service is calling this an observed tornado. So this isn't just something that's potentially on the ground. It's something that unfortunately has likely caused some damage. So regardless though, you wanna not saying it to scare anyone, but to let you know that there is evidence that this is potentially a tornado that has caused damage. So it's not just a weak rotation, and we saw it with the very powerful winds earlier in this thunderstorm's life cycle. If I can put this on a loop over the past hour or so. Put this on a loop over the last hour or so. And it's been a very powerful thunderstorm, even though it's not as strong looking, the rotation as it was earlier. It is definitely not a storm you want to take lightly. And Tiffin, north of Ranger, I really need you to be in your tornado safe place. Here's Thurber, which is a place a lot of folks will stop on I-20. Thurber's not currently included. It looks like the rotation of the thunderstorm is kind of taking a northeasterly track into Stevens and Palo Pinto County. So I definitely still want you in your tornado safe place though in far northeastern Eastland County. And you can definitely see the very powerful rotation. It looks like it's just on the north side of the community of Tiffin. So folks in Tiffin really need you to be in that tornado safe place. And hopefully when the National Weather Service surveys this, there's not a whole lot of damage, but it does just illustrate the importance of taking those tornado safe precautions. And hopefully we don't receive any reports of damage. Hopefully it was an error in the radar data, but we definitely saw the very powerful winds associated with the thunderstorm. Definitely something noteworthy. And again, north of Ranger near Tiffin, Ranger, this is really, really close to you. We can estimate about how close it is to the community of Ranger, and it looks like in that new radar scan, it may have tightened up just a little bit. It is just about 4 miles east-northeast of Ranger, so that's why you're still included in the tornado warning. Tiffin, this looks like it's right on top of you. And again, you have the green going towards the radar, red is away from the radar. Strawn, really want you to be taking these tornado safety precautions. National Weather Service has This moving east at 30 miles an hour, so in the most recent update from the National Weather Service, it appears to have changed speed just a little bit. It's gone a little bit faster. It's going about 30 miles an hour now. So that would track it eventually towards Strawn near Thurber here in just a little bit. So near Greyhound Stadium at about 7:30, Strawn at 7:29 p.m. So you can see here Greyhound Stadium, just it appears on the west side of Strawn. And near Mingus at 7:38 p.m. we have the tornado warning for what has been a very powerful thunderstorm over the past, at least past half hour or so. We have been keeping a very close eye on this thunderstorm. And you can still see the persistent hooks with this thunderstorm, indicating how powerful the winds have been and dumping a lot of rain. And the thunderstorm's been warned for up to baseball-sized hail. So regardless of if it's put down a tornado or not, it has definitely been powerful. New circulation just north of Tiffin, just east of Farmers Road, Farm to Market Road 717 northeast of Ranger, and will approach Strawn in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So if you live in the community of Strawn, I really want you to be taking this seriously. It's northeast of Ranger, and the Weather Service was pointing out what I was discussing just a second ago. So it's to the east, northeast of Ranger. Green is winds going towards the radar site. Red is winds going away from the radar site. That's a counterclockwise circulation. Strawn, I really want you to take those tornado safety precautions. Lowest floor away from windows. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you live in an apartment complex in and near Strawn, if you live on the second floor, I want you to become friends with the folks on the lowest floor of your building. Some apartment complexes, they have areas you can potentially shelter in the leasing office. So just things to think about in Strawn, because the rotation is approaching the community of Strawn here in the next 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So not a whole lot of time. We'll be keeping a close eye on it, and hopefully it'll weaken. But you definitely want to be taking those tornado safety precautions in Ranger and Strawn and Tiffin. And we'll see if it appears there's not many locations in Stevens County, and you can see newest scan just to the northeast of Tiffin, right where the bright green and bright red are touching each other. Radar is estimating the shear or the rotation is about 102 miles an hour. So powerful rotation just to the west of Strawn. We're talking southeastern Stevens County at this point. It looks like that rotation is now in far southeastern portions of Stevens County. Really need you to be taking these tornado safe precautions. Just in the most recent radar scan, we have seen that rotation strengthen. And we are receiving reports from storm chasers, to the National Weather Service from storm chasers, that they are seeing a giant bowl west of Strawn, but can't see anything down yet because the visibility isn't great. So the visibility, because of just how much rain is falling with this thunderstorm. So if you live just west of Strawn, if you live near Strawn, Palo Pinto County, southeastern Stevens County, if there is a tornado, you're likely not able to see it. Regardless of if there's a tornado or not, there's definitely very, very powerful winds. And you can see right where the bright green and bright red are touching each other, far northeastern Eastland County, far southeastern Stevens County. It feels like we've been repeating the information a lot, but because it's potentially a very dangerous situation, and it appears they have updated the tornado warning, so it no longer includes portions of Eastland County. So Eastland County, you appear to be in the clear now. as I say that, it does look like there might be an area of some weaker rotation kind of between Morton Valley and Gunsight. And that's kind of, again, it looks like there might be now 3 almost hooks on radar. One just west of Strawn, that's under a tornado warning until 7:45. And that is, without a doubt, the most powerful area of rotation we're seeing on radar. So folks near Strawn, you're included in that tornado warning. Far southeastern Stevens County, southwestern Palo Pinto County for the next half hour until 7:45 p.m. If you live near Strawn, really need you to be in that tornado safe place. It's for the next half hour. It's 7:16 right now. The tornado warning is in effect until 7:45 p.m. Still seeing the powerful rotation, and it is 5 miles northeast of Ranger. National Weather Service calling this a damaging tornado with 2-inch in diameter hail. So for those of you who are just now joining us, good evening. I'm Meteorologist Britton Musall. We are doing live severe weather coverage for a damaging tornado in southeastern portions of Stevens County, far southwestern portions of Palo Pinto County. It has, unfortunately, it appears caused some damage across portions of Eastland County. Most recent radar scan showing the circulation a little less tight than it was a second ago, but as those of you who have been watching for a while now know, these rotations can cycle up and cycle back down in intensity very quickly. So just because it's cycled down doesn't mean it can't cycle right back up again. So if you live near Strawn, really want you to be in that tornado safe place, because it's looking like potentially a dangerous situation for folks in Strawn. And we've had reports of wall clouds and potentially of some damage. And Strawn, you are in the path. The circulation will cross Texas 16 near Farm to Market Road 207 in the next couple of minutes. So we can zoom in. Again, this appears to be very, very close to the Palo Pinto and Stevens County border. And here is Texas Highway 16. Here's the community of Strawn. This is north of Interstate 20, Palo Pinto, Stevens County. If you live in this area, at this point, next 25 minutes, it's 7:18 p.m. until 7:45 p.m. For the next 27 minutes. Need you to be taking these tornado safe precautions. Notice the bright green out ahead of the main circulation. Here's the main circulation. Out ahead of that main circulation, you're seeing the very bright green colors over the community of Strawn. So Strawn really needs you to be taking this seriously. Need you to be in your tornado safe place as soon as possible if you're not already there right now. National Weather Service has called this an observed tornado with 2-inch in diameter hail. That's over golf ball size. Golf ball is 1 3/4 of an inch in diameter, and the 1 3/4 inch in diameter, that's about hen egg sized hail. So a very powerful thunderstorm, a very damaging thunderstorm. Right now, that is the big weather concern across the big country right now, across the entire Fox West Texas viewing area. The observed tornado that appears to have caused damage across Eastland County. Palo Pinto, Stevens County, you're included in this tornado warning until 7:45 p.m. It's a little bit before 7:20 on this Sunday evening. This is eventually going to move out of the Fox West Texas viewing area. If you're watching us from Eastland right now, Eastland, you are no longer included in this tornado warning. This doesn't appear to be a threat for you in Eastland County. So Strawn, the green is winds going towards the radar, red is winds going away from the radar. You can see that circulation very close to the community of Strawn. Eventually, this tornado warning is going to move towards the community of Gordon. Here's the community of Thurber. I know a lot of folks will stop in Thurber when they're traveling between Abilene and Fort Worth. So folks in that area, you really need to be in that tornado safe place. I would not be shocked at all if the National Weather Service in Fort Worth extends that tornado warning into Palo Pinto County. At that point, when it moves into Palo Pinto County, it'll no longer be warned for our viewing area because Palo Pinto County is technically just outside of our viewing area. At this point, though, Stevens County, you're still included in the tornado warning community of Strawn. Even though Strawn technically isn't our viewing area because it's in Palo Pinto County, if you know folks who live in Strawn, why don't you give them a phone call, let them know that it is a Sunday evening. They may be getting ready to go to bed before the start of the work week. They do need to be in their tornado safe place, though, in the community of Strawn. You're included in a tornado warning until 7:45 p.m. And Palo Pinto County is included in a severe thunderstorm warning eventually, and they have just issued a downstream tornado warning until 8:15 p.m. for Palo Pinto County, because that tornadic circulation is still looking extremely powerful. Strawn, Gordon, you're included in that tornado warning until 8:15 p.m. National Weather Service calling this an observed tornado. It does look like the threat's transitioning out of the Fox West Texas viewing area, more so into North Texas. If you know folks who live in the area, though, give them a phone call. Let them know what's going on. Our sister station in Dallas, Texas, WFAA, going to cover this thunderstorm as it eventually moves closer towards Weatherford, towards Fort Worth, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Until, though, that warning officially expires, though, for Stevens County, we are going to stick with it. And I do suspect it looks like the primary circulation is going to be leaving Stevens County here in just a little bit. But Palo Pinto County, if you know folks who live in Palo Pinto County, they do need to be in their tornado safe places. Because and even still in Stevens County. And they also have small hail falling with the thunderstorm. So a lot of different severe weather hazards associated with the thunderstorm. And again, this is the form of radar data that looks at different shapes in the atmosphere. And it looks like potentially some damage, some debris being lofted by the thunderstorm. The radar picking up on the west side of Straw. It has been called a confirmed tornado by the National Weather Service. And they don't throw around these words lightly. The National Weather Service thinks about it very, they're not flippant, I guess is the best word. They really are highlighting the serious situation. And Stevens County, you are included in the tornado warning until 7:45 p.m. If you live close to Strawn in Stevens County, I need you to stay in that tornado shelter until that tornado warning gets canceled. Strawn at this point appears to be the main area of concern. So Strawn, I really need you to be in that tornado safe place shelter. And this is now looking to impact southern portions of Palo Pinto County. Here's Strawn. Here is Mingus. Here is Thurber. Here is Gordon. I know a lot of folks probably stop at these locations. I know the times where I've driven from Abilene towards Fort Worth. These are all areas I've stopped right along I-20, main road that'll take you from Abilene to Fort Worth, from San Angelo to Fort Worth, since we're all our different streaming platforms. Once this little cluster exits our viewing area, once it exits Stevens and Eastland County, I do think the threat will start to wind down for the Fox West Texas viewing area. There is a little storm between Robert Lee and Sterling City. I'm not overly concerned about that at this point, and we do still have a tornado watch in effect. And that's for that area where near Strawn, Palo Pinto, Stevens County until 7:45 p.m. And now that the thunderstorm is starting to move away from the radar, that is going to mean we're not getting as quality of data because the further a storm is from the radar, the higher up you're looking in the thunderstorm means that we're not really getting a good idea what's happening in the lowest part of the thunderstorm. This is still a concerning signature, though, for folks in Strawn. Let me give you the latest from the National Weather Service. They are saying that at this point, they can't confirm anything over the community of Strawn. Again, that's just because of the heavy rain associated with this thunderstorm. That doesn't mean in the slightest that you're able to leave your safe room if you live in and around Strawn. Overall, the thunderstorm kind of complex is starting to move out of Stevens County. We are still kind of seeing that rotation near Strawn. And then maybe another area we've been keeping an eye on near Gunsight. North of Steve, it's definitely not as strong as some of the other tornadic signatures we've seen this evening. But it does appear that the strongest signature is moving into portions of Palo Pinto County. If you live in far southeastern Stevens County, kind of between Frankel, Ranger, Strawn, I do still want you into that tornado safe place. Until this tornado warning passes for you, of course, I'll be keeping a very close eye on it. This is starting to move into the Dallas and Fort Worth television markets, though. So as it moves into that television market, we could continue to cut into programming in Abilene's TV market, but it will be moving in towards the Dallas area, away from So the story with this area of circulation and overall with this thunderstorm complex, it is moving out of the big country and moving towards western portions of North Texas. And again, National Weather Service has issued the tornado warning for Palo Pinto County until 8:15 p.m. That's for the next 45 minutes. You still have this smaller tornado warning. It's for far southeastern Stevens County, southeast of the community of Frankel, and kind of to the west of the community of Strawn. Now we have a bigger tornado warning, though. It goes for the southern half of Palo Pinto County. This is south of the community of Mineral Wells. I know a lot of folks will go vacation kind of between Abilene, Mineral Wells, and Weatherford, getting closer towards the Fort Worth area. So again, a dangerous situation. The tornado warning for our area goes for the next 15 minutes. It's 7:28 p.m. right now on this Sunday evening and goes in effect until 7:45 p.m. But Strawn right now really looks to be the main area of concern, eventually moving towards Gordon, eventually moving towards Lone Camp and Santo. And with this dynamic environment, we've unfortunately received some reports of damage, so hopefully all the folks in that area are safe. And hopefully everyone across North Texas is safe. And we just had a severe thunderstorm warning issued for Coke and Nolan County. Zoom over here. You see that thunderstorm. It's near Robert Lee, eventually moving towards Sweetwater and potentially Abilene as well. That's a severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15 this evening, so for the next 45 minutes. National Weather Service warning for up to half-dollar sized hail and some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So definitely not as strong as that thunderstorm we're seeing over Palo Pinto and Stevens County. Still a powerful thunderstorm nonetheless. So if you're watching us from Robert Lee, Blackwell, just want you to be inside for the next 45 minutes. You can definitely see the bright reds and the pinks on radar, indicating potentially some small hail, especially to the east of Broome. It is moving towards Edith, towards Robert Lee, Senko, Silver. Here's Bront, here is Blackwell. You're all included in that severe thunderstorm warning for the next 45 minutes until 8:15 p.m. Not concerned about a tornadic circulation at this point for Robert Lee. If that changes, we'll be the first to let you know. All right. It appears that the tornado warning has been canceled for portions of Stevens County. This is moving towards Palo Pinto County. So I think we'll go ahead and send it back to regularly scheduled programming at this point, since that is moving out of our coverage area. But before we end, I do want to give y'all just a quick look at what's going on across the Concho Valley and the Big Country. We have a tornado watch in effect. We have a tornado watch in effect until 10 p.m. It does include Abilene and points eastward, but that tornadic circulation near Strawn and Palo Pinto County is moving out of our viewing area. So for now, we'll send it back to regularly scheduled programming. Abilene points eastward is included in a tornado watch until 10 p.m. Make sure you stay safe.